Good morning. It's Thursday, September the 5th, 9 o'clock. Welcome to the September meeting of the Riverfront Design Committee. First item is roll call, please.
Paul Dedman.
Present.
Anthony Black. Kenneth Dennis. Brian Doherty.
Present.
John Joyce. Don Casperite. Richie Splitt. Terry Taylor. David Yost. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. The next item of business is the approval of the minutes of our last meeting, which was August the 1st of this year. The minutes were in your packet. Does anyone have any questions, comments, changes? Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Mr. Yost, second by Mr. Doherty. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item 3, cases withdrawn. There are none. Item 4, continuance requests. There are none. Item 5, consent docket. Nothing. Item 6A, cases for individual consideration. Case number SRCA-13-0002 at 1401 Southwestern Avenue. Aubrey?
As you all might remember, you've already looked at this project. It's for the downtown air park site. This was done in a PUD. The PUD requires that any revisions or the original approval come to this committee. This committee actually is reviewing the project against the PUD and not against our guidelines and criteria that apply in the Scenic River District. And they're coming back to ask to do some modifications to that original planned unit development.
Okay, thank you very much. Is the applicant present?
Good morning, Tim Johnson with Johnson Associates. As Aubrey mentioned, after the first venue event out here, there was a need. They discovered there was a need for a couple of additional buildings and some clarification to some of the information that we had provided to the staff prior to that. So that's what's been submitted. We've amended the site plan to show that there's a few extra buildings in this area. I think our original plan showed 3. We now have, I think, 5 total. We gave some additional detail on the structural for the temporary stage and the VIP area as well. So everything else really is the same. It was just some additional structures that were added. That's an aerial view we took after they had installed everything that they needed for that event, and then that's what we modified the PUD and the application to match.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone on the committee have any questions of the applicant? Scotty, do you
We have
comments from the city?
We have had one call from a concerned neighbor who was wanting to protest the venue itself. But this particular part of the project complies with the PUD, and so we have to recommend approval.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that has any comments on this matter? Anyone care to make a motion?
I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Yost.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Joyce. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Thank you. Excuse me. Next item, other business. None. Item 8, communications. Item A1, we have a presentation with regard to the windscreen to be built along the Oklahoma River in the Regatta District. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Brent Ward with the MAPS 3 office, and I'm glad to introduce to you our MAPS 3 Oklahoma windscreen project, and the presentation will be done by our designer, Rand Elliott.
Morning, Rand.
Good morning. Thanks very much for allowing us to be here this morning. Ian Ainsley is the project architect on this project, and so we're a tag team here this morning to share with you what's going on with the windscreen. Today is kind of an informational thing to give you a status report on what's going on, and just to give you some broad overviews, we're talking about 500 meters of length. It's on the south side of the Oklahoma River, and its purpose is to create a uniform airflow across the river from the southern winds that allows a much more fair race course, if you will, for all of the rowing contestants. What you're seeing is a windscreen that's 40 feet in total height. There's a 10-foot gap at the bottom and a 30-foot high screen itself. What you're seeing here is that we have proposed two options on what the screen color is or could be. One is a mill-finished aluminum, which is the first image, which is this one, and the second one is a white powder coat finish. And we're looking at these from a cost perspective and weighing that with aesthetics as well. The next image, this is a close-up, gives you an idea about what's happening. It's a 50% open screen. It's a perforated metal. You can see that it's virtually invisible when you're as far away as across the river. And we've had a wind engineer from Colorado, CPP, help us work through all of the engineering criteria. It's a simple steel A-frame structure that holds this up. It's uniform in its height along the entire 500 meters. Here's a view from the rear of it, and you can see how it's constructed. It's a simple steel frame, if you will, with the perforated metal attached to the face of it. And then you can see the mill-finished aluminum versus white, which you're seeing here. And then one of the added advantages that Mike Knopp proposed that we should consider is that there's an opportunity to continue to support his night racing concept, which we think is really unique and very special. And in fact, he invented the night racing concept for rowing. And so we have the opportunity with the updated video capability that he has is to actually project images on the windscreen itself. It would accept that. As you can see here, you can see it with and without the river lighting on. It's equally visible in either situation. Mike has also had the opportunity and will have the opportunity to do a simulcast, which means that you can have a camera running the length of the race, and that could then project up on the screen, and so you'd be able to see something happening 500 meters away or 1,000 meters away that you couldn't necessarily see in the naked eye. A couple of drawings that show you what's going on. We have a lot of utilities that run through the south side of the river, and we've been able to successfully navigate through this by doing a series of sections that are disjointed. You can see here on the left the idea that we have one section of the windscreen that overlaps another, and that's in an effort to dodge some of the utilities there. But it's ended up being a really great design and something that will be very appropriate and functional for the river itself. We are on our schedule and our projected budget as well, so I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
When you made the presentation the other day before the River Trust, I got the impression, or maybe I misunderstood, that this wasn't going to happen immediately. Is there funding for this?
There is funding for this. The plan is in order, and we're moving forward just as the original project had proposed. The budget's about $3.3, I think, million, and we're on schedule for that.
Great. Anyone have any questions, comments?
Are there any benefits to either finish of that product? Any benefit to one or the other finishes of the product?
It's a very good question. We've been doing some serious research on this, Mr. Splitt, and that is that we're weighing that very thing. Mill-finished aluminum has an interesting patina after some period of time, and that it gets kind of a real light grayish surface to it. It's like galvanized metal. When galvanized metal has a time to patina, it gets a little bit of a grayish quality to it. The powder coat paint has a very long life. It's pretty much the go-to sort of thing these days when you're doing exterior coatings and painting and so forth. And so we're trying to evaluate the cost as well as the projection capability, the visibility, the propensity of it to rust or not rust. All of those kinds of things are being considered as we go through. And so we felt a need to do due diligence to be able to have that for comparison, and we would propose all of that research when we do a final evaluation with the city.
The powder coat finish is currently an add alternate. The base bid will be for aluminum, and if there's enough money in the project, once bids come in, we could elect to choose the powder coat finish.
One of the things that happens when you have a project of this size is that sometimes an alternate can be easily accepted, if you know what I mean, because people are interested and aggressive about the bidding process. And so we're hoping that we might be able to get an upgrade through the bidding process because of the sheer size of it. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? If not, thank you very much. Looks like an exciting project.
Thanks so much for your time.
Next item is item 8B, Administrative Approval Report. We have 3 items. Item SRCA-10-0015 at 2420 East Reno Avenue. Second item, SRCA-11-0020 at 4335 Southwest 15th Street. And SRCA 13-0019 at 3700 Southwest 15th Street. Does anyone have any comments or questions on those items? Item C, comments from the Planning Department.
I don't think we have anything for this meeting.
Okay. Comments from the committee? Anyone?
Right, that center itself is federal land. There's a narrow strip that we're investigating now between that land and the river itself, which may have a city easement, and then the majority of the land to the south of that American Indian Cultural Center is privately owned. However, where the center is itself is on federal land.
Next item, item E, is the next meeting date, which is October the 3rd. Scotty, do we have anything on the agenda as of yet?
I believe we do.
We do? Good, okay. If we have nothing else, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Okay. Moved by Mr. Joyce, seconded by Mr. Splitt. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. We're adjourned.